Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. We've got a lot to get through. As always, we're going to start things off with some UK news. The UK Central Bank, the Bank of England, has just lowered interest rates today. We also have news relating to the United States and the overall situation involving tariffs, and that is that the UK and US seem to have struck a, quote, comprehensive deal. And any progression in regards to moving away from the literal implementation of what was set out on Liberation Day with tariffs is positive for markets, in my opinion. However, the US stock market getting hit rather hard. I was watching Google yesterday, which was down like 8%. For a Mag 7 stock to sell off that much on a generally quite generic day raises a lot of questions, and I have more concerns actually right now over the US stock market in regards to the fact that it's broken out of market structure, the uptrending structure that it was in, than I do the cryptocurrency space, which you guys will know I'm exceptionally bullish on. Waiting for a concession of falling wedges to play out, and I do think that's going to take place. Then, of course, yesterday was the Fed meeting. I don't know what's going on with Jerome Powell, but he's literally not giving anything away. He was certainly, in my opinion, a lot more forthcoming when Biden was president, and gave a lot more guidance rather than he's literally just going, yeah, we're going to see what happens, and we're not going to do anything based on the kind of weakening that we're seeing already. And we're certainly not going to do any preemptive rate cuts in regards to tariffs, which you don't want an overly reactive Fed because it can show cause for concern. But Trump, of course, had something to say about this, which we're going to look at. We'll look at the probabilities of rates moving forward. We'll do some technical analysis. And then we're going to talk about the OCC, the Comptroller of Currencies. And this is headed up by Rodney Hood. We're going to listen to what he has to say, because the US is deregulating and getting ready to, and regulating the cryptocurrency markets and getting ready to send it where I believe it's heading. And that is it's going to play a front and center role in the new financial system that they're going to usher us onto, because the old one is dying. Had somebody on the show yesterday. I'm not going to mention any names yet, or even really the full context of the video that we spoke about. But one thing we do is we go all the way back to Babylon to 1913, when the Federal Reserve Act took place, and showed that throughout history there's been crashes, there's been catastrophes, and that money is typically at the center of it, often controlled and deliberately forced to, or deliberately used to control people. That's going to be a banger that we don't think anybody has covered quite in such a comprehensive manner. And that's not due to me, that's due to the guest that I had on. Let's kick things off. Bank of England cuts interest rates. Here's what it means for your money. CNBC telling us what it means for our money, I think is, who cares? But they have lowered interest rates in the UK. One of the few places, or one of the only places that aren't, of course, lowering rates are the Federal Reserve, which we're going to talk about. But the Bank of England today has lowered rates, so your mortgage rate should be coming slightly down, certainly if you're on a variable, which I know quite a few people are, which is a good thing. And it's interesting because they're lowering rates at a time when the UK bond market is just a dead fish in the water right now, and actually yields continue to climb. In regards to the US, Trump says US has struck a comprehensive deal with UK ahead of a press conference. This is what he had to say over on Truth Social. The agreement with the United Kingdom is a full and comprehensive one that will cement the relationships between the United States and the United Kingdom for many years to come. Because of our long time history and allegiances together, it is a great honour to have the UK as our first announcement. Many other deals which are in serious stages of negotiation to follow. And I think what the market's broadly priced in, let's jump over to the charts, and you can see crypto doing well like we were expecting it to. But I think broadly this entire pricing is due to a literal implementation of tariffs and how that would affect economies moving forwards. And anything better than that, you see the recovery, like the 90-day pause showed a willingness to find a middle ground, and the markets reacted like this. Any progress, good progress, in fact, you may end up with lower tariffs across the board. I think you see an entire engulfment of this, and you see a continuation. But this is still in the danger zone. For me, it really needs to recap its high. I just want to show you Google quickly, because it was something I was watching. I was kind of going, hang on, what the hell's going on here? This is Google. This is its week. Let's check out its daily candle. Look at that for a daily candle on probably what is Google in terms of size, company market cap. Look at that for a daily candle. 10% daily candle on Google. US equities are moving like altcoins. And the crypto market held up beautifully well under this context. I just wanted to show you guys that as a little bit of trivia. So this is what Trump is saying in regards to the UK. It kind of filters into the bigger picture. You guys know we've been a lot more optimistic than pessimistic. I'm not for tariffs, by the way. I don't think that we should have tariffs on anything. I'm for free markets. And there's even holes in that theory, but generally I think it's that Nirvana's not for this world, and that's the better one. But I could see in a world where there already is tariffs existing, tariffs actually resulting in lower tariffs across the board. And I think that's the trajectory we're perhaps on, and any kind of progress towards that is a good thing. Let's talk about the Federal Reserve meeting. Jerome Powell is literally doing nothing. Nothing at all. You do have... I wouldn't say the economy's in a bad state in the US right now. We're still yet to see all the data from perhaps disruptions that were caused by the announcements of tariffs and the implementation in some cases. But I wouldn't say the US economy, I'd say the UK economy is in really bad straits, but the US economy, I wouldn't say is doing too badly. And we looked at that on the non-farm payroll and using a variety of other things. I think inflation is generally quite tame. I know there's going to be outroar to that in terms of where it currently is at, 2.4% according to CPI. Whether it's higher or not is for another debate, and I think it is probably. But despite inflation being low and the economy seeing some weakening, Jerome Powell is just not doing anything. And despite the amount of debt that needs to be rolled up, he's not doing anything. And the question is why? Well, it could be because they're saving this resource for a later date, or it could be something politically. He didn't cut rates yesterday. He also rules out the preemptive rate cut to blunt any tariff impacts, which one might assume may be smart because there's a lot of unknown with it and the markets don't like unknown. This is the probabilities of a rate cut next month. May, June. Yeah, that's correct. And then July, it's looking like we are going to get a cut, but only 25 basis points. And the Fed is the kind of last man standing when it comes to interest rates, rather annoyingly. And this is what Trump had to say on the back end of all of this. Too late, Jerome Powell is a fool who doesn't have a clue. Whoa. Other than that, I like him very much. A bit of bipolar going on here. Oil and energy way down, almost all costs, groceries and eggs down, virtually no inflation. Yeah. Tariff money pouring into the US. The exact opposite of too late. Enjoy. Yeah. Of course, true inflation, somebody's highlighting here, is right the way down as well. True inflation tracks a way broader basket than the likes of the CPI. I think Jerome Powell could cut. Why he's not is debatable. Let's talk about the cryptocurrency markets, which held up beautifully yesterday. The general market, other than Google, markets were doing quite well. I'm actually looking at a number of stocks right now. I'm looking at Silver Miner. I'm looking at a number of stocks in sort of phase one is what I like to look at that I think have uptrends ahead of them. But when it comes to crypto, it's just a beautiful picture, and it continues, and it's going to continue. We said this would lead to continuation in line with the broader targets that we have, and that is taking place. And on the smaller timeframes, we identified this falling wedge, which is playing out. And you'll see this entire move engulfed and the continuation for the markets. The altcoin sector lagging behind a little bit. This is total market cap that's now pushing through that resistance that it found itself at. Total 2, total 3. Others, Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, I think is going to continue in the direction we want it to. And of course, many of our altcoins doing what we would expect. They just sort of ran into resistance. So we do think you've got seriously bright days ahead, despite all the uncertainty, which I think there's a resolve for. Really, the last thing that I want to do is play something that kind of solidifies the direction the cryptocurrency market is going in, and that is from Rodney Hood, who, of course, is the comptroller of currencies, one of the banking regulators in the United States. Let's dive in and listen to what he has to say about this industry.
More than 50 million Americans hold some form of cryptocurrency. This digitalization of financial services is not a trend. It is a transformation. Here at the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, we've confirmed that national banks and federal savings associations may engage in certain cryptocurrency activities responsibly in order to serve their customers. OCC regulated banks may provide custody services, including the safekeeping and secure storage of cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, all on behalf of their customers. The banks we supervise also may buy and sell cryptocurrencies they hold in custody at their customers' direction. Additionally, these banks may provide other custody services, including record keeping, tax, or reporting services for their customers. OCC banks may use a sub-custodian to provide the same services, subject to appropriate third-party risk management practices. While a range of cryptocurrency and digital asset activities may be performed by banks and their third parties, I want to be clear that the OCC expects these activities to be conducted in a safe and sound manner and in compliance with applicable law. To learn more, please visit occ.gov.
I can assure you, despite that clip rather looking slightly like AI, it is not. It is from the OCC officials, sort of outlets. It's an extremely bright. There's never been a better time to be in the crypto space. Getting people to understand that in the kind of doldrums of the day-to-day drag that the cryptocurrency market's price action goes through can be hard. But focus on that bigger trend. Focus on where we're at. You know, I'm doing well. I'm beating your traditional investors in terms of ROI, despite getting back into the markets, really at the turn of 2023. You know, so we've been here for a couple of years now as back into the markets. And if you look at the returns, despite all the volatility, despite being predominantly in the altcoin sector, we're beating traditional investors. So maybe I can be a lot more happy than perhaps other people, but there's still so much to come. These things don't happen overnight, but the groundwork is being laid. The foundations are being laid. And it's an exceptionally bright future we've got ahead of us. And don't lose track or sight of that. And we'll keep you up to date with it on a daily basis and get everybody there. Hopefully, that's it from us, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I'll see you soon.